देव की जय। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय। श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। सबको ही सीताराम। Let me extend a very warm, very cordial welcome to each and every one of you this morning. Those of you who've made your way here physically to the Mandir on Todd Street, San Fernando, and for all of our devotees, brothers and sisters who are viewing us either on Facebook or on YouTube, Shubh Swagatam. This morning, indeed, a very wonderful, very beautiful, very sunny morning, and we join together as children of that one God, as we offer our love and our adorations, as we seek the blessings of Bhagwan and the inspiration to continue in this life, notwithstanding the challenges and difficulties that we may face. This morning I invite us all to stand now as we engage in invocation mantra, as we propitiate that Supreme Being. Gaze at the murtis before you, in whichever form you find most endearing, most appealing. Affix your gaze to that form, imbibe that form, and then close your eyes and go within as we engage in invocation. Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Saraswatye Namah. Om Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namah. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvara Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Vasudeva Sutam Nevam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagatguru Nagindraharaya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambharagaya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandra Virase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaye Pataye Namaha. Om Manojavam Marutulya Vegyam Jetindriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Bhatatmajam Vanadiyutamukam Shri Ramadutam Shrishi Namami. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Bhaiye, we all resume our seats. As we engage in Kirtan, I invite you to clap, to sing and to glorify Bhagwan's name as we join together.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ek dant dayavant char bhujadhari. Ek dant dayavant char bhujadhari. Mathe sindur sohe musiki savari. Mathe sindur sohe musiki savari. अन धन को आँख देख को दिन को काया, अन धन को आँख देख को दिन को खाया। बाजन को पुत्र देत निर्धन को माया, बाजन को पुत्र देख निर्धन को माया। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता जागी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जागी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। पान चढ़ी फूल चढ़ी और चढ़ी मेवा, पान चढ़ी फूल चढ़ी और चढ़ी मेवा। लदवन को भोग लगी संत करे सेवा, लदवन को भोग लगी संत करे सेवा। रिद्धि सिद्धि सात सोही कार्तिकेय भ्राता, रिद्धि सिद्धि सात सोही कार्तिकेय भ्राता। दीन जानी शरण राखी सुफल की जय सेवा, दीन जानी शरण राखी सफल की जय सेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। माता जागी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जागी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। माता जागी पार्वती पिता महादेवा, जागी पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय। This morning is the first Sunday during the period of Pitri Paksh, which would have commenced yesterday. And during our pravachan, we will speak a little bit about that. Today is also the resumption of the Bal Vihar class, which will begin shortly. And in the meantime, we join together in Kirtan before we begin our pravachan and before the commencement of the Bal Vihar class. I invite you once more to join together with members of the Kirtan group as we glorify the name of Bhagwan.
We join in reciting the mantras of the Durga Chalisa. Jai Shri Durga Ambika Jagat Palini Mat, Tumharo Chalisa Rachu Ki Jai Mohi Sanat. नमो नमो दुर्गे सुख करनी, नमो नमो अम्बे दुख हरनी। निरंकार है ज्योति तुम्हारी, तीनों लोक फैली उजियारी। चंद्र ललाट मुख महाविशाला, नेत्र लाल भ्रुकुटी विकराला। रूप मात्र को अधिक सुहावे, दर्श करत जन अति सुख पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। तुम संसार शक्ति लव कीना, पालन हेतु अनधन दीना। अन्नपूर्णा हुई जगपाला, तुम हो आदि सुंदरी बाला। प्रलयकाल सब नाशनहारी, तुम गौरी शिव शंकर प्यारी। शिव योगी तुम्हारे गुण गावे, ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुम्हें नित ध्यावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे ओ मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। रूप सरस्वती का तुम धारा, वे सुबोधि ऋषि मुनि न उबारा। गयो रूप नरसिंहा अम्मा, प्रगट भई पाधी की कम्मा। रक्षा कर प्रहलाद बचायो, हिरण्याक्ष
कुश को स्वर्ग पधायो, लक्ष्मी रूप धारो जग माही, श्री नारायण अंग समाही। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, उमया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। क्षीर सिंधु में करत विलासा, दया सिंधु दीजे मन आसा। हिंगलाज में तुम ही भवानी, महिमा अमित न जात बखानी। मातंगी रूमावती माता, भुवनेश्वरी भगला सुखदाता। श्री भैरव तारा जगतारण, चिन्ह भाल भव दुख निवारण। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, उमया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। हे हरि वाहन सोहे भवानी, लांगुर वीर चलत अगवानी। हर में पर खड़ग विराजे, जाको देख काल दर बाजे। सोहे और अस्त्र त्रिशूला, जाते उठत शत्रु ही अशूला। धवर कोट में तुम ही विराजत, तीनों लोक मृदंगा बाजत। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, उमया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शुंभ निशुंभ दानव तुम मारे, रक्त बीज संतन संहारे। महिषासुर नृपति अभिमानी, जहियत भार बही अतुलानी। रूप कराली का धारा, सैन्य सहित तुम तहि संहारा। परिवार संतन पर जब जब, बैसाही तुम तब तब। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। अभरपुरी और माँ सब लोका, तब महिमा सब कहे अशोका। ज्वाला में है ज्योति तुम्हारी, तुम ही सदा पूजत नर नारी। प्रेम भक्ति से जो यश गावे, दुख दारिद्र निकट नहीं आवे। ध्यावे तुम जो नर मन लाए, जन्म मरण करे सोचती जाई। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। योगी सुर मुनि कहत पुकारी, योग न होय बिन शक्ति तुम्हारी। शंकर आचार्य तप कीनो, काम क्रोध जीती सब लीनो। विषि में ध्यान धरत शंकर को, काहू काल नहीं सुमिरो तुमको। शक्ति रूप को मरम न पायो, शक्ति गई तब मन पछतायो। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, उमया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शरणागत हुई कीर्ति बखानी, जय 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 जगदम्ब भवानी। भई प्रसन्नानी जगदम्बा, जय शक्ति नहीं कीन विलम्बा। मोह मात कष्ट अति घेरो, तुम बिन कौन हरे दुख मेरो। आशा तृष्णा निपत सताए, विपुमूर्ख मुनि अति शत्रुनाश की जय महारानी सुमिरो विकचित तुम्हि भवानी करो कृपा हे मातु दयाला रिद्धि सिद्धि दे करहु निराला जब लग जियो दया फल पाऊं तुमरो यश में सदा सुनाओ दुर्गा चालीसा जो गावे सब सुख भोग परम पद पावे देवी दास शरणाई जानी करहु कृपा जगदम्बा भवानी जय अम्बे जगदम्बे ओ मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे ओ मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे ओ मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे
प्रेम से बोली जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय. At this juncture, I'd like to invite the teachers of the children's class to please take the children across to the Bal Vihar class, which recommences today after the break for the vacation period. And I want to first of all commend, because I'm seeing parents with children here who we haven't seen in some time, so I want to commend the parents and the children. I don't know who brought whom, but I'm glad to see everyone here. I also want to make a special appeal to those of you who are viewing on to make every possible attempt to bring your children to these classes. Those of you who are viewing online, whether on YouTube and Facebook, once you're in Trinidad, then you are invited to please bring your children across to the program. It's a wonderful program, and it will indeed serve to the betterment of your children. It is an investment that you're making in their future. So I'll invite all of the children to move across. The teachers are there already. We have Yamuna and we have Shivma, both of whom are leading the class this morning. So we invite you to take the children across. All children, no need to be fearful, no need to be shy. You can go across with the teachers of the class to commence the Bal Vihar program. I invite us all this morning. Then, before we begin, however, I want to share some words of condolence. There are persons of this Mandir who've lost their loved ones, particularly Shri Vidya Bisesa, Mangal Bisesa. She lost her brother, and this morning is the Antishti Sanskar for Shri Rajendra Mangal, the brother of Vidya. The funeral ceremony takes place from the home on Independence Avenue this morning, and then to the Shore of Peace. They should be getting down to the Shore of Peace by about 10 a.m. So after Mandir, those of you who would like to go to attend, you are encouraged to do so. Members of the Mandir were there last night to offer support and to offer our love and prayer with the family. Also, I want to extend condolences to Srimati Rose Jagisa, Auntie Rose as we know her, who lives on Gomez Street. She lost her husband, a very esteemed gentleman, Mr. Lionel Jagisa, who passed away yesterday, I believe. And the funeral will be held later on this week. When we get more details, we will share that with you. From what I've been told, the funeral may be on Friday or Thursday of this coming week. And again, we want to offer our support and our prayer to that family so that they would derive the necessary support, the necessary solace that is required at this time. So many other persons have lost loved ones during this time and even before, and we offer our prayers and support as well. This morning, as I said, it is the first Sunday during the period of Pitri Paksh. We join our palms together. Let us focus on Krishna Bhagwan and let us offer our prayer for the benefit of all of our foreparents who've made such an indelible mark on our lives. For were it not for them, we would not be who we are or where we are today. The blessings that we've been bestowed with, we would not have been favored with. And therefore, Almighty God, we give thanks. We ask for blessings upon their Atma, wherever it may be, whatever form, whatever journey, may you embrace that Atma. Hari Om Shantakaram Bhujagashayinam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhagam Lakshmi Kantam Kamala Nayanam Yogi Virya Nagamyam Bande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloke Kanatam Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. So this morning I want to approach this period of Pitri Paksh, which we will hear more about next week, from the perspective of frequently asked questions. I'll keep it very, very simple. So what is Pitri Paksh? Pitri meaning our foreparents, our ancestors, very loosely termed. Paksh meaning fortnight. It is that fortnight that has been set aside and dedicated in our Panchang, in our Patra, in our calendar, whichever term you want to use, that fortnight where we pray to God for the benefit of the Atma or soul of our ancestors. So one of the frequently asked questions by persons who are non-Hindus is, do you pray to the dead? Simply put, that's the question that is asked. And the unequivocal answer to that for everyone, including the young ones, should be, no, we don't. We pray to God. The question then comes, well, why do you have this period? And is it fixed in terms of every year? So in other words, is it from September 1st to September 15th? And the answer is no. It is not fixed based upon a solar calculation, but it is fixed based upon a lunar calculation. So it commences on the Pratipat, just following the full moon, and one easy way to indicate that would be after Ganesh Utsav ends, and it runs for that period, that fortnight, and it ends on the new moon of the dark fortnight of the month of Ashwin. So when is that this year? As I said, it started yesterday, and it culminates or ends on the 25th of this month. So that is the period of time. So every year, there is that period that is set aside for us to remember, to give thanks, and to focus on that aspect of our lives, that is, the aspect of our ancestors and our foreparents, and their contribution, and particularly their influence on our lives. Why? Why is the need for that? Because with everything else, we do not have a true sense of who we are and where we should be going unless we know from whence we've came. And that applies to us at an individual level, at a family level where we have our own family traditions, at a community level, for example, this Mandir is based upon the legacy of so many persons who've gone and have made contributions and so on. At a country level or at a national level, right now the United Kingdom is mourning the loss of their beloved Queen, who ruled for 70 years and made such an indelible mark on their history. So whether they want to recognize it or not, they're engaged in this kind of focus as well. And it is very important, therefore, that in our daily lives, when we are so caught up with getting up, preparing food, going to school, going to work, earning money, earning a livelihood, and everything that comes with that, particularly now, that we pause, that we take a step back and we realize, hey, listen, quite apart from these daily activities, let me remember and give thanks and offer gratitude. You see, that word gratitude is a very, very important one. For all of the efforts of our foreparents, giving them thanks for who I am and what I am today. And we all, without exception, enjoy those blessings, without exception. As much as we would want to say, well, my mother or my father or whoever didn't do anything for me and I am a self-made person, utter rubbish. utter rubbish. Because we are who we are, and if we adopt that attitude, then we are ungrateful. And that should never be the modus operandi of us as Sanatana Hindus. Gratitude is our hallmark. So that is the period, right, that we set aside for that focus of our activity. Now, in generations gone by, there were many misnomers that came with that, for good intention, but maybe not really well put. So the beginning with, what's the name? So long ago we used to know that it was called Pitri Paksh. Yes? I'm sure the older ones, myself included, heard that term. Pitri Paksh. That's the wrong name, as Pandit Devendra mentioned. Pitri Paksh. All right? The other thing is, what could you do or not do? And that still is a bone of contention up to today. What can I do and what can I not do? So I'm so sure some persons are sitting either here or looking on. Way, how the Pundit doing Hawan this morning, boy? That's the wrong thing to do. You know, why he ringing the Ganti and why they doing Arti and all of these things? Your Nitya Karma or your daily activities, whether in your household or in your Mandir, does not stop. It does not stop during this period. Bhagwan has never said to us, you know what, forget all of that, forget I exist and just worship your ancestors. Didn't say that. Puja is still performed during this period as well. What? When you perform Pitri Puja, when you perform Puja to Vishnu Bhagwan, what are you doing? You're doing the Sankalp, you're doing your preparation, you're doing a normal Puja. So Puja is still performed. One of the other things was, don't go outside after 6 o'clock, you know, because Jambi will hold you. Right? Why that statement? That statement is because if you're engaged in all of your activities which are not focused where your mind should be, then you become distracted. Tell me what you're doing out of your house in the night time during this period. What you're doing. Obviously, it's something that's not focused along the line of where your mind should be focused. You're going to lime somewhere. All right? And that's not what we should be doing this time. So, sorry, because that runs at odds with the CPL program, right? Nice. So, we live in the 21st century. We must be aware of the realities. How do we operate? Vishnu and India, if all CPL was the problem, we'll come to an end there, right? But, you know, you have to understand what you're doing and how you're doing things. So that was the reason. Nothing going to hold you after 6 o'clock in the night. But our foreparents, especially the couple generations back, were trying to inculcate a sense of focus in our minds. And hence the reason, the easiest thing to get somebody to do something, the easiest way, and I'm sure all parents will agree with me, is fear. That's your first port of call. If you do that, you'll get licks. Child, stop immediately. I don't want to get licks, I'm afraid of that. Right? So that was our first port of call, and that is what our ancestors employed very generously, the concept of fear. Garud Puran is based on fear. When you read it and you're told about what you should and should not do, from the time you hear these stories there, well, all right, I am doing what's supposed to be done because I am afraid of that. Not so? Right. But we are an educated society. Sometimes I question that. But anyway, we are an educated society. And therefore, our action should be based upon knowledge, not upon fear. And therefore, during this time, it is nothing to be feared. What do they tell us not to do? They tell you not to engage in any major undertaking or venture, such as wedding ceremonies, such as yagyas, such as new business ventures. And that's a tricky one. Because some people say, well, you know what, I'm not supposed to do anything auspicious, so I'm not paying my bills during this time. Well, that is the most silly thing I ever heard. If all commerce were to shut down, where you getting your food to eat? Where you buying your vegetables? Where you getting your medicines if you get ill? So that's not it at all. We continue with our daily activities, but what we avoid would be things that are major, things that are new. Why? Think about why. Because if you are, for example, engaged in a wedding ceremony where you think your entire thought, resources, and activities are focused on the contribution of your ancestors, quite apart from just maybe the Nandi Shraddha Puja, no. Your activities are concerned about the tassa, the caterers, the pundit, the decorators, the ring, the clothes, everything else, not your ancestors. So your focus is elsewhere, which it ought not to be. Similarly, if you're going to start constructing a home, where's your focus on? The contractor, the materials, the building, the timeline, everything else, not your ancestors. So that's why you are asked and requested to avoid those major undertakings, not your normal daily activities. You continue with those. So the do's and don'ts are very limited. Obviously, things like observing a certain diet is one of the things that you should be doing. Why? Because you ought to be performing your daily puja, which we should be doing anyway, any day, every day. But more than that, the puja that you perform and the offerings that you perform are geared, again, along that line. So what are the things that you do? So you have a fortnight. If you can make your offerings during the entire fortnight, God bless you, do that. But you know we are a society that don't want to inconvenience ourselves, right? So scriptures tell us that at least 5 consecutive days, out of the entire fortnight, just 5 consecutive days. If you could do that, great, that is prescribed. Makes it even simpler. Well, if you can't do that, Panditji has work offshore, and when I come back onshore, I wouldn't have the time, the 5-day period, or I have to travel, or whatever, fine. What does it tell you? If you can't, then on the new moon, Mahalaya Amasya, which is on the 25th of September, then do your puja on that day. Scriptures permit that. For even if you do it on that day, the benefit is manifold. So it tells you, if you can do the whole period, do it, fine. If you can't, then do 5 days. If you can't do that, then 1 day, and that particular day. So it makes it so user-friendly for us. So user-friendly. What do we do? Well, it's very easy again. The offering of Tilanjali. What is Tilanjali? So family traditions differ. It is water. So Vishnu, if Vasa provides us with water, we'll have water. Right? So that is supposed to be very common. If not rainfall in every day, you could catch some water. Some black till, one of the cheapest ingredients you can find any and everywhere. Some people add to that, right, with tulsi leaves, again, very prevalent. Some people, family tradition, they'll put some white rice and some flowers. That's it. So they have different family traditions. Different people do different things. They use water and black till, some. Some would use the water, black till, tulsi leaf. Some would use water, black till, tulsi leaf, white rice, and flowers. Whatever be your tradition. The point is, and again, Pandit Devendra was making the point about when your puja starts. It starts with the thought. So if you know during this 2-week period that I'm making preparations, I have to get kush grass, if I do have kush grass. I have to get these things. Maybe I have to go to the puja store and I buy my black till. I have to ensure that I have tulsi leaves. You already start attuning your mind and your focus in that direction. And that is important. So you have those preparations made. You get your kush grass, you plant it. You are in the southern part or southern quadrant of your home or your property or whatever. Well, Panditji has lived in a townhouse. No problem. Find an appropriate place there. I do have a yard. That's okay. You could use a little pot, a little bucket. That's fine. See how convenient it is? Giving you every possible opportunity. You face in a southerly direction and you're offering that Tilanjali. Yes? And what you're trying to do is offer it between the thumb and the forefinger, and you're allowing the water to flow through that way. And you're reciting the prayer to God and the name of your ancestor or ancestors as you make those offerings. Well, I don't know the mantras. Well, that's fine if you don't know it. You just call the name of God in your own way. Simple mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and you offer. If you know the mantras, and we have circulated the mantra, very simple mantra to everybody on WhatsApp, we've circulated it via email, you could use the mantra and offer it. So it's very user-friendly. For those who are able to, and you are able to have your Pundit come and you perform Tarpan in the elaborate way in which it is to be done, great, wonderful. That is ideal, but everybody may not have that ability. In addition to that, one of the things that you do is you offer a nadan, food. Well, why food? Well, we'll talk about that shortly. Now, what kind of food? Well, we know what kind of food we shouldn't be offering, right? But you should be offering sattvic type food. So when you are doing your puja, for example, you can make a little kheer or a little sweet rice, and you could use that. You can offer food as well, cooked food of a particular type as well. You do your hawan and all of those things. Now, the giving of food, especially, I will say, in this time, in this place, is something that if we have the means to do it, we should do it. And that should not be confined to Pitri Paksh. It's like everybody giving out a hamper for Christmas, but the needy have to live for the rest of the year. So if you've been giving food as part of your charitable initiatives and so on, please continue to do that. But if you know, well, I've been caught up in this and I didn't think about it before, and you have an opportunity now, then please do so as well. So if you can find, and we have plenty, so you don't have to look far, needy persons who need meals, then make the arrangements and provide the meals. I'll tell you what we do within this Mandir and our families. There's a place called Court Shamrock, just on Rushworth Street Extension, which is a non-governmental organization that caters for the homeless and needy. Whenever we have the ability to, an opportunity to, and there's food, we give it to Court Shamrock. Well, why just don't drive down Karapo Street and wherever and give out to whatever? You could do that, but you're trying to encourage persons to not be on the street. You're trying to encourage people to get themselves into a place and into a program that will allow them to elevate themselves. So as far as possible, you try to do that. There are many homes, there are many shelters, there are many places, and I'm certain you know there are many families who are in need of food. If you want to provide hampers for them, then do that. And that kind of giving of food and helping persons who are in need is very, very important, not only for them, but believe it or not, it redounds to our benefit as well. So what is the scriptural basis for all of the things that I've said? Mahabharata gives us the example. In Mahabharata, there was a very great protagonist known as Karna. He was the son of Surya Bhagwan and Kunti Devi. Very, very esteemed warrior. He was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And throughout his lifetime, he did many good acts and deeds, giving of charity in the form of monetary gifts and so on to other persons. And like everybody else, like we too, his physical time allotted came to an end. And when he left this plane, he was blessed with so many things, but the one thing he did not do while he was alive was to give food. And therefore, he was not benefiting from that particular blessing. His Atma was not benefiting from that. And so he pleaded with Yamraj, and Yamraj allowed him that 2-week period, which is known as Pitri Paksh, to return to Mritya Lok and to engage in the giving of food, anadan. And so he did that. And as a result of that action and performing those oblations and so on, he was blessed so that on his return he did not have that difficulty. Sounds like a Nancy story, doesn't it? But you see, our dharma is based upon the law of cause and effect. And that is a lesson to be learned from this. So that we have the ability, we have the time, and last night at the satsang I spoke about the concept of time. We all currently have time. How much time, Panditji? We don't know. We do not know. But we do have time right now. The use of that time is up to us. What do we do with that time? And one of the things that we can and should be doing on a very regular basis is the giving of charity whenever we are able to do so. Now, I was having a conversation with my wife this morning about governance. We have these kind of out-of-the-way conversations. One of the things you do not want to do is to create a dependency syndrome with persons. But there are times when people need help. And there are many people in our society right now that need help. And so you want to assist persons not by creating a dependency syndrome, but by encouraging them. Many people don't want to live on handouts, They don't want to live on charity. But they simply do not have a choice because of circumstances. And if you can help persons in that way, then do so. And that's one of the reasons why we would choose to give food to Court Shamrock. Because part of that program is not to leave people in a dependency situation, but to allow them to elevate themselves out of it. I'm making no apologies. I had an office on the promenade, and the population of street dwellers there, whenever you gave them charity, 99.9% of the time, it was used to purchase beer rum and leave themselves in that situation. That's not healthy for them. Not healthy for the school children who have to interact with them or members of the public. They need to get help. And so therefore giving to other places, so if they know, you know what, I'm not getting food on the streets, but I will get food there, they will go. And hopefully that action will allow them to lift themselves. What we are told in Bhagavad Gita, we have to lift ourselves by ourselves. So we do not want to create a dependency syndrome, but we want to be able to give charity to persons who are in need. And therefore, that's what we do. We don't judge, we don't question, we give. And that is the opportunity that is afforded to us. And in performing those noble acts in the name of our ancestors, not only do they vicariously benefit from our actions, not only do the needy benefit from our actions, but we ourselves start acquiring that punya, that merit, that when our time here is expired, we derive that as well. But you know what? Even when we hear, the actions that we perform derive certain benefit. How do I know this? Well, I have that faith. I have that belief. We conduct a little experiment. The more we give, the more we seem to get. And that's so ironic. And it's true. You don't believe? I'll give you another practical example. When we concluded on Friday, some of our devotees went with Ganeshji after we finished the Visarjan there to put him in his rightful place, which is back into the running water. See, we couldn't do it with a mass of people because we didn't have the facilities to do it. And when they were finished with that love and with that devotion, sarawing, and they were going back to their vehicle, and I will say it openly, a junior Sami truck traveling at a phenomenal rate of speed nearly crashed into them. It was a split second that saved their lives. My belief, Ganesh Bhagwan was with them. Ganesh Bhagwan was with them. So they were protected, notwithstanding that danger. Because when we pray to Ganeshji, as we were doing throughout the entire Utsav, we say, if there are any difficulties, any obstacles, then with your blessings, may they be removed or mitigated. And I am of firm belief that those gentlemen were protected by the blessings of Ganeshji. Vishnu, you agree? Yes. He was there. Pujari, you agree? He was there. So when we make certain decisions based upon faith, we must be faithful that God protects us. But they say, make sure and say your prayers, but don't forget to tie your horse. Right? And on that note, a devotee shared with me a recent, within the last couple of days, experience, and I'm sharing this with everybody here because this is the society we live in now. A little bit from the Pitri Paksh trend, but ties in. Driving along, this devotee, pulling up on the side of her was a vehicle full of young men, Last night we were driving from the satsang to drop my mom back home, and a vehicle similarly filled with young men pulled up alongside us. And we looked, and they looked at us and were looking at us, and we said, wait boy, that's a car I don't want to bounce up somewhere on some lonely road, because you should see the characters in that car. So this lady, this devotee, similarly approaching the traffic lights right by Root Avenue and Independence Avenue, stopped at the traffic light, and there's this group of young men staring at her. She's very firm in her belief, so she stared back at them. And they told her, your tire flat. Thank God, Ganeshji's blessings. She said, thank you. She did not pull aside her car. She did not stop her car. She did not come out, but she drove straight back to her home, secured her place, and came out. Guess what? No flat tire. No flat tire. So that was obviously a ploy to get her to pull aside so that they could relieve her of her car and other valuables and so on. That's the world in which we're living in now. Why am I saying this to you? Because I want you to be aware. We come to Mandir, we say our prayers, we do our offerings, we say our prayers, but don't forget to tie your horse. So always do the things that will ensure your safety, that will ensure your protection and that of your family. Don't be foolhardy. Bhagwan doesn't intend us to act that way. Make the appropriate choices. And so there's much more to be said and will be said next week about Pitri Paksh. But I just wanted to deal with some of the concepts now, especially since we're in this, especially for our teenagers when you're in school and you're hearing all of these things, you know, you're praying to the dead during this time and all this rubbish. Well, you can dispel that now. That's not the case. You know better. And you can then share the very great beauty of our dharma, which allows us as people, as a community, as individuals, as families, to pause in the rat race of our daily life where we're so caught up with so many things and say, you know what, thank you, God, for my ancestors. Thank you for their contribution. Thank you. I look the way I look. I smile the way I smile. I walk the way I walk because of their genes and their benefit and so on. I have what I have, my talents, my education, some sort of foundational basis because of their efforts. Every time we celebrate the anniversary of this Mandir, I always remember back to the persons that I knew that played a long and pivotal role in this Mandir. I won't call the names because there were so many of them. Not persons who suddenly came a week or 2 weeks, a month, 2 months or a year even, and then went their way, you know. But people who served steadfastly over a protracted period of time, giving their time. That is the most important thing, you know. Yes, we will come to you for the fundraiser and say, buy a ticket. By the way, we want you to buy a ticket, but anyway. But more than that, I want you to give of your time. Because this Mandir is not my Mandir, is not Vishnu's Mandir, is not Anne's Mandir, is not Sherry Mandir, is not Kavir Mandir, it is all of our Mandir. And I'm looking now at that bhajan group in front of me. I want you, the members of the bhajan group, to commit to this Mandir. We are suffering because we do not have members that are committing. Last night we got a call. Can you come and sing? Somebody has died. You know who went? Myself, my wife, and my son. Because we didn't have anybody else to call. And I want the members of the bhajan group to know you all do a wonderful job. I want the persons who sit on the benches that could sing, that could play an instrument, to come and sit there and join with the bhajan group. You know what I've heard? Only Pundit wife and Charandas be singing in this Mandir. Utter rubbish. Prashant, is that so? Is only my wife and Charan singing in the Mandir? Pat, is that so? Patricia, is that so? Rama, is that so? Indira, is that so? Right. That is not so. A bhajan group provides the greatest resource in a Mandir. When you lose someone and you want that comfort of kirtan, the first place you turn to is a Mandir. We cannot do it alone. We need your help. So everybody who plays a little instrument, who could play a little instrument. You know how much times I'm sitting here playing this Majira because nobody want to pick up a Majira. God bless Pat. She's pick up that dantal and play real good. Why do we need to be imploring and engaging in that way? So many of you have the talent, you have the ability, just give of your time. And if you do that, then the burden wouldn't fall on one person. There could be an equitable distribution of the burden. And it then wouldn't become a burden. It will become a joy. And that is what we're asking in all spheres of the Mandir's activities. We want your help. I called a religious committee meeting. You know how much people showed up? Rama and Renuka. That was it. And those are people I know I could count on whenever, but that's not what I want, because then the burden falls on the three of us. And it becomes a burden. This is our Mandir. And the empty spaces you see there because persons are not coming anymore, I want you to ask them why they're not coming. And if they tell you, you know, Pundit, the reason they're not coming is because of you, tell me. I am free, willing, and happy to step aside. If that is the reason, I am not entrenched here. I'm still the temporary Pundit here. Ask Vishnu. When our Pundit ups and say, boys, I'm migrating, I'm gone. That was the notice we got. Everybody turned to me, you think you could do a little something? You could help out? And I said, yes, okay, I'll help out. And I'm still helping out. Somebody said, well, why you don't get another Pundit? We've tried. And I always tell the management committee members, you know what, I have no problem having another Pundit officiating here. I will gladly step aside, sit there and play Majira. I have no problem. But I will not go back to the days. I will not go back to the days when a Pundit will sit here, or a person professing to be a Pundit, and belittle people, and tell people all kinds of things, and make people uncomfortable when they're performing puja. I will not go back to that. I want better for us. So if you guys know of a Pundit who fits that description, please let me know. We've tried a couple before. Another one migrated. I don't know what's going on with migration. A next one moved elsewhere. So we've tried. So I want us to understand that this is our Mandir. And the reason I'm saying it in the context of Pitri Paksh is because the people like Mrs. Devi and Mrs. Pasad and Mr. Pasad and Pandit Ram Narayan and Pandit Sunarayan and Mr. Yatin Ram Pasad, and I could go through all of the names, are people who made the effort selflessly to this Mandir, to be where we are, to be comfortable. And then the comforts and the luxuries and so on are added on. We now have two of them sitting there behind a table. Whenever I see Mitra and Amral, I think of the two Muppets up in Muppet Show and how they're there and they're functioning and so on. But they're doing a wonderful job. Or everybody who's enjoying the live stream, give them a round of applause. These boys are here, sometimes even before me, setting up that system to make sure that those of you looking online enjoy the benefit of it. And we had that discussion, should we just shut off the online so more people will come to Mandir, but we decided not to. So that's the kind of commitment I want. I'm not asking for it, you know, I'm demanding it. So when people come and say, Baba, I want a recommendation for X, Y, and Z, I said, I will start doing like Sat Maharaj, you only come into Mandir? And if the answer is no, I'll say sorry. I should start doing that, but I don't yet. All right, when people come and say, I want this, that, and the other, I should start talking like the politician, who is it, Churchill, whoever. Ask not what my country could do for me, but what I could do for my country. Ask not what your Mandir does for you, but what you could do for your Mandir. That is what we need to be asking. And not finding every excuse in the book why not to come to Mandir and why not to participate. You know, we could find every reason. I could find every reason. I would love to just get up in the morning, drink coffee, and read papers. But that is not my calling. So I want to end this morning, and I'm sorry if I may have sounded harsh. I'm not vexed with anybody. It's just the way I talk sometimes. But I feel very passionate about this Mandir. I know the difference this Mandir has made into my life and that of my children. I know, were it not for this Mandir and the people in this Mandir, that things could have been very different in my life. And I'm sure each of you sitting here could share a similar testimony. And if that works for us, then why not share it with so many other people? Look around the persons who are not here. And I will call the names if I have to. And ask, why are they not here? And let us do something to get them back here. Look at all of the Hindus in San Fernando and ask, where are they? And why are they not in a Mandir? And you know something? I understand not everybody will be here on a Sunday morning. When you look at the complexion for our yagya of the demographic of persons who came for the 3 nights of our yagya, they're very different from those of you sitting here right now. So people come to yagya, but they wouldn't come to a Sunday morning service. And people will come to a Sunday morning service, but they wouldn't come to a yagya. No problem with that. But give of yourself to the Mandir. That is what I'm asking for. There's so many that do it. There's so many that do it. When we come and we see the place clean on a Sunday, those of you who were here on Friday, think of how we left this Mandir. Flower all over, this, that, and all over the place and whatever. And ask yourself when you show up here this morning, the almost pristine condition. How did that happen? Well, Baba, the little elves come in the night and fix everything, you know. Not little elves, the big elves. When you see the wonderful arrangements, when you come and you view and you see the online streaming, ask yourself, that didn't just happen, you know, that's people getting that done. Volunteerism. People volunteering and committing to themselves. Those teachers of the Bal Vihar class, they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. But they're giving of themselves. The people who come and sing here and play instruments, they don't need to do that either, but they come and give of themselves. So come and give of yourselves and of your time. People do, and I'm appealing for more of that doing. Prem se bole Bindraban Bihari Lal ki jai. Let us come forward and do our arti now. You again, I'll invite you at this point, you don't need to wear the gloves. Please just sanitize your hands as you go forward and perform your arti. And when you finish, again, sanitize your hands. We're still asking you, if possible, to wear the face masks within the confines of the Mandir compound, obviously, because we are in an enclosed environment. But you don't need to wear the gloves anymore. Just sanitize as you go forward. I hand over to the group now.
Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Shiva, Jai Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva,
Jai Shiva,
Jai Shiva, Shiva, Jai Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Shiva, Jai Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva,
Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva, Jai Shiva,
Jai Shiva, Shiva, Jai Jai Shiva,
Jai Shiva, Shiva, Jai Jai Shiva.
Jai Shiva, Shankar, Gauri, Nath, Parvati, Pati, Bole, Nath.
Jai Shiva, Shankar, Gauri, Nath, Parvati, Pati, Bole, Nath.
तुझसे व्यापक जल तल व्योम,
तुझसे व्यापक जल तल व्योम।
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव,
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव।
गिरिजापति कैलाशपति भव भय भंजक मायती
गिरिजापति कैलाशपति भव भय भंजन महायति
तेरे गुण गाता हर रोम
तेरे गुण गाता हर रोम
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव
नीलकंठ घट घटवासी रुद्रदेव हर अविनाशी
नीलकंठ घट घट व्यासी रुद्रदेव अविनाशी
मस्तक पर शोभित है श्लोक
मस्तक पर शोभित कर जो
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव
जय गंगेश उमेश महेश विनती करे भक्त आदेश
गंगेश उमेश महेश विनती करे भक्त आदेश
हो ना कभी न नाथ विलो
हो ना कभी ना नाथ विलो
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव
जय शिव शिव जय जय शिव
जय शिव जय शिव जय शिव
जय शिव जय शिव जय शिव
जय शिव शिव जय 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 जय शिव बोलो बोलो सब में बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय
बोलो बोलो सब में बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय
ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय
बोलो बोलो सब में बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
श्याम मुकुंद मुरारी घनश्याम
मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
नंद आनंद राधे गोविंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
राधे गोविंद श्याम मुकुंद
श्याम मुकुंद मुरारी घनश्याम मुकुंद
मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी घनश्याम मुकुंद
मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
घनश्याम मुकुंद मुरारी
राधे गोविंद कृष्ण 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 मुरारी राधे गोविंद कृष्ण मुरारी
प्रेम से बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Before we commence Arati, just a couple of announcements. I want to once more extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you this morning, particularly those of you who are back with us after some period of absence, particularly in that regard, the smaller children who are with us and who are attending the Balvihar class. I want to continue to urge everyone to commit to the class. To persons who may be looking on to please join with us. The class commences at 8:45 every Sunday and runs for just over half hour. So it's not a long period of time because of the age of the children. So we are looking at, for the classes, all children between the ages of 4 and 11. So that's the age group we are targeting. Between 4 and 11 years old, we are asking parents, grandparents, and so on, guardians, to please bring out the children to the Bal Vihara classes. They will start, so come for 8:30. The class will start at about 8:45. Members of the youth group, and this is another key component of the Mandir that we are trying once more to instill a shot of life back in after COVID. So all persons be reminded, or just please asked to note, that there will be a meeting of the youth group next Sunday. That's the 16th of September, right after service. So again, parents, we urge you to have the children come out, and we are catering for all youths, all, regardless of gender, from Form 1 or age 12 and up. All right, so if you feel sitting here, Kavir, that you're youth, please join, right? So we're going from there. So ages 12 or Form 1 and up, you have a meeting of the youth group next Sunday right after service. You're also asked to note that the Bhagavad Gita classes, which have been running online because of the pandemic, is resuming this morning face-to-face right here at the Mandir after service, led by Sri Anil Maharaj, and he's doing wonderful, wonderful seva in terms of his guidance through the shlokas and the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. So you're all encouraged to attend or to join if you haven't yet joined. And how it's going to be conducted would be every 2 weeks it will be face-to-face. So this week it starts face-to-face. There will not be a face-to-face class next week, but then the following week you're again face-to-face. And the alternate weeks when you're not face-to-face, it will be done online, and it will be on a Wednesday from 7 p.m. so that you can join online on a Wednesday from 7 p.m. So that's the kind of hybrid system that's being employed for the purposes also of the resource of Akalka Devi, who is part and parcel of this program of events. So please make note of that. Unfortunately, yoga classes will not be tomorrow, but you will be advised about the resumption of the classes in due course. So yoga classes will not be held tomorrow, but you will be advised of the resumption of those classes in due course. And throughout this term, classes are resuming in dance and music and so on, led by Susan Mohip and Rana Mohip, respectively, and other classes are coming back on stream. So parents, please take note for the benefit of your children. Two final announcements. The first is our fundraiser, which will be on the 9th of October. And this is by way of a takeaway breakfast. It is going to be tremendous value for your money because of the amount of food and other things that you're getting in it. The price of the ticket is $100. I know some persons have gotten tickets already. If you haven't, please, please, please patronize, because we do need your support. A lot of the improvements you're seeing undergoing here at the Mandir and maintenance of those things require our funding. For example, as you were coming in, if you would have noticed on your left side, there's an air conditioning unit there. The one on the stage went out of, it blew. Several weeks ago, we were not able to replace it before the commencement of the YAG. So our VRS was under some heat there, but we have been able to source the funds to do that. So that's the kind of maintenance that goes on. We also engage in charitable works, giving to persons. So there were book drives that were given to needy persons and so on, and we continue to do that. And we need your funding in order to assist in that regard. So please patronize. And more than that, the committee members are hosting a meeting tomorrow in preparation of that. And on the 9th of October, that's a Sunday, the takeaway will start at 9:30 and it will go until just about lunchtime. But we will need your help in terms of your physical support to help with the packing and arrangements and all of that. So when persons approach you, in keeping with the theme of my little buff this morning, I'm joking, it wasn't a buff, it was my appeal, please give of your time as generously as you can. We really, really, really need you to work with us, to work for you. The final thing is that on the 26th of this month, we commence our Navratri services, and that will be Monday the 26th, and we will go straight through until the following Monday. All right, so Navratri lasts for 8 days, if you may want to put it that way. So it starts on the 26th and it runs until the following Monday. So that's the period of Navratri. We will be having evening puja in our traditional way from 6 p.m. each evening. So you're all invited to come. Prepare yourselves from now to participate in this most wonderful puja of the Divine Mother. Let us all now stand for final arti. Did I forget any announcements? Any announcements forgotten? No. All right. Stand for final arti and then closing prayer.
Om Jai Jagadish Hari Swami Jai Jagadish Hari भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट जननी दूर करी ओम जय जगदीश हरि जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख बिन से मन का स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का ओम जय जगदीश हरि मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहो किसकी स्वामी शरण गहो किसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा तुम बिन और न दूजा आश करो जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरि तुम पूरन परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी ओम जय जगदीश हरि तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता स्वामी तुम पालन करता हम सेवक तुम स्वामी हम सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता ओम जय जगदीश हरि तुम हो वेद अगोचर सबके प्राणपति स्वामी सबके प्राणपति इस विधि मिलो दया में इस विधि मिलो दया में तुम हो मैं कुमति ओम जय जगदीश हरि ओम जय जगदीश हरि स्वामी जय जगदीश हरि भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट जन में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरि ओम जय जगदीश हरि ओम जय जगदीश हरि
Hari Om. As we conclude in prayer this morning, O Prabhu, you are omniscient, you are omnipotent, you are all merciful. During this most auspicious time, we offer prayer to you for the benefit of our ancestors and their Atma. Wherever they may be, in whatever form, we ask you to bless, to guide, to protect. We ask you to inspire us all for that performance of good action. We ask you to help all those persons who are suffering, who are affected in some way. We ask you, Prabhu, to give us that sense of gratitude for all that you have blessed us with, and all that you continue to bless us with. For you are mother and father, you are family, you are friend, you are knowledge, you are wealth, you are everything to us. We join together now in prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। प्रेम से बोले श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की जय। Turn to those around you, सब कोई जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम. Please have a very wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a very powerful and productive week ahead. And we look forward to seeing you with us all next Sunday at 8:30. Jai Sitaram all.